Welcome everybody back to the Rob and Ace and Rob show. I'm Ace, is with me always is Rob. Hit those buttons, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Today we're going to do a quick show. We're going to recap our first interview on that we did recently. We're also going to go over some other things, another topic we want to discuss. But how do you think the interview went?
How do I think the interview went?
Yes.
I thought it went great.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a stalling technique. Whenever somebody repeats the question back to you, they're stalling because they don't want to say this person was a train wreck.
Oh yeah, I mean, she had train wreck tendencies, but I was stalling. I learned that from women. And
she wasn't a train wreck. I'm just joking.
No, she like I said, she has tendencies, but she admitted it. She admitted it like with us.
Yeah, she admitted she literally is a hypocrite. She will say something and then change her mind 2 seconds later, which she did like 5 times.
I thought it went well because this is our first one and we've never done it before. And because I don't know her super well, like I've met her a few times and she used to train at my gym. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't necessarily certain what to expect from her, but I think it kind of went exactly the way I would have hoped for it to go. Because I think if you're listening, I think we got an entertaining interview out of it. And I think anyone who might be interested in our services would also see where we're coming from and see value in what we do. And we don't come off as idiots. You know what I mean?
That and two things I got from the interview. One, I can hold back when I want to. Which every once in a while you think you lose that skill, but I still have it.
Yep. Sales game.
Yeah. And two, because see, that's the thing. In sales, you got to know when to push and when to pull.
Yeah.
And she was the type of person where, like, there's different types of women. And I always say there's the type who can admit they're wrong, which is like 0.0000001%. And there's a type who would rather be right than be happy.
Right.
And I'm not even saying they're actually right, but they're going to push it till they feel they're right, rather than actually be like, you know what? Let me look back at this. Maybe I'm being a little crazy. And that's the valley that she was going into. Like when she brought up, oh, you're interrupting me, and I'm like, well, no, I'm just responding to what you're saying. You're interrupting right now. It's like, all right, let me just pull back. You're getting to that point where you just want to fight, and I don't want to fight.
Yeah,
I'm good. I'm 40. I'm 41 years old. I don't need to fight. I've already held every championship belt. I'm good.
I feel like there is a common misconception that people have with women, and that women even have of themselves, with the notion of when someone says, "Oh, women just like drama," like women get really offended by that. But I don't really find that to be all that offensive. It's the goddamn truth.
It's accurate.
Number one.
Like
number
love
two
and hip hop doesn't exist because of guys.
Right. And here's the thing. As men, you got to understand that drama, that's kind of your job. And if you don't provide the drama, they're going to provide it. And it's so much worse when they provide it. It's your job to provide it.
And
so it's also,
not when they're doing that drama, they're not doing it maliciously a lot of times.
Exactly.
It's just they're doing it and it happens. It's like I was saying with I can't remember her name. Lizette, or what was her name? Tiffany. Okay. The tiger analogy. Like you're upset with somebody for being who they are. You're upset with an animal for exhibiting its own nature. That's part of it. It's your job as a man to lead them out of that. And like, look, do you see how crazy you're being right now? Do you really want to do, like, you have to talk them through this, and it's never going to end. Like, it's not like, oh, you convince them once and then it stops. It's the same way as men fighting their nature to not cheat. That's a constant battle. That you don't just turn down one chick and be like, oh, good, I'm done forever. You're a crackhead. They have the
I know I can do it.
Yeah, you know you can do it, but that doesn't mean you're going to do it all the time. You just know you can do it. but it's still a fight. It's like I said, it's a crackhead. You're a crackhead fighting off crack every day. And sometimes that crack is delicious, and you just want to just take a quick smoke or snort or whatever you do with crack.
Yeah.
But it's part of nature. You just these are things you have to understand in order to move forward. You got to understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So that's what I appreciated about her. She did have a lot of stances that I didn't agree with at all. Like some of them were just straight cat bullshit.
Right.
So I'm like, just being honest.
The reason I just, because I came up with the idea of putting her on the show within like a 5-minute time span. I was just like, oh, she might be perfect for it. You know what I mean? And there's a couple of underlying reasons for that. Because I had a feeling about her that when she would be on the show, she would reveal certain things, and she totally did. But I brought her on because, one, she's very attractive. Now, this is an audio show. Like, we're not showing you what she looks like, but she's a very attractive girl. And what you usually don't get with really, really attractive girls is a girl who's also really, really just like a nice, sweet girl. Usually you get kind of like, she knows why men like her, and she's going to use that to her advantage type. And she's not really into that sort of part of her personality. And then she ended up on the show revealing exactly why I think that about her. And it's because she has a good relationship with her dad.
Also, she has low self-esteem, that too.
But she still has low self-esteem. Yes, 100%.
It's an approval type of thing. I'm not going to overstep because I'm still trying to get your approval type of situation. Like right. Some people are like that. You have that low self-esteem and you're always trying to win somebody over or win someone to your side.
Right. And she does guard herself. She has a lot of these traits, but like I said, she also is very smart. Like, she's a chemist. She's actually a good-looking female going into the STEM fields, which is so very uncommon because STEM fields is a male-dominated field. And so she has things going for her and things going against her. She's still the strong, independent woman who doesn't necessarily need no man.
What she said the old female trope where I don't need a man, but I want one. Like, shut up.
That's not how that works.
Like men need women, women need men. Stop.
Yes.
Like, let's stop with the platitudes. Like, I don't need a man.
And
sure, you also, do if you want to die alone.
Yeah, and also men want to be needed. So if you don't need us, then we'll go find someone who does.
Yeah, we don't want to just be wanted. We want to be desired. We want to be needed. We want to be felt like we have to be there.
Yeah,
that's part of it. And women feel the same. Like, you'll never hear a guy say, "I don't need." That's the dumbest statement in the world.
Right. So it was good that I brought her on because I know parts of her to be atypical. And then when she spoke, it was just like, we're going to get a lot of some typical stuff here. So it was good to sort of see that, because I'm wondering if she feels the same way.
Yeah, we can have her back on eventually.
Because I would like her to hear her own interview. That's the thing. So, give it a couple months. Maybe she'll feel differently after the experience, or maybe even there might be a topic where she might be worth chiming in on to get her perspective on. Who knows what Drake will be up to in three months. You know what I mean?
Or Into. Yeah, Into is the best.
Let's see what Bad Bunny is happening in his life. So.
And that's the thing about being a complete show is you can't just have only the male side. You can't just have only guys talking and saying this. You got to have females on. And look, she's going to say what she's going to say. Women are going to say what they're going to say. We're going to challenge on our end, but it's not about causing an argument. Like I told her beforehand, we had a discussion. Like, this isn't an argument type of thing. This is a back and forth discussion. So, is she, when a woman says some of the platitudes that she says, like, I don't need a man, but I want one, or what other dumb thing that she said? She said something about love language and
oh my god! As soon as she said love language, I was just like, "There's no such thing as love language." Stop it, please.
It's a vaginal term, to quote Patrice O'Neal. To quote the Godfather, it's a vaginal term because only people with vaginas say it.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as love language. That doesn't it doesn't exist. It's a fancy way of saying this is what I like. This is what I prefer. You could just say that. That's what I called out when you first got on.
It's a really complicated way of saying
this is a female trait. Like, I didn't get upset when she did it, but the first thing I did was I called her out on the female bullshit, because all you did was ask her to introduce herself, and she gave me like a 5 minute soliloquy without introducing herself.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, you made that way more complicated than it had to be. Just say your name. This isn't like a master's dissertation. Just, hey, who are you? My name's Tiffany. I work at such and such. The end. We didn't ask for your hobbies. Like, just, and that's the same thing with love language. It's you make stuff more complicated than it has to be.
Of course.
There's no like, just like I said, no guys go up to another guy when they're talking about females like, yo, she understands my love language, yo. Like, when she swallowed the whole thing, that's my love language. When her tongue touched my balls while she was doing it, that's my love language, yo. Like, no, we don't do that. It's just the dumbest thing in the world.
Oh man, it's like if there was a such thing as love language, because I've been asked that question. Oh, what's your love language? Men have every single man on the face of the earth has the exact same love language. If it does exist, it's the exact same thing. It's be attractive, be cooperative, make me some food, have really hot sex with me.
But that's the thing.
End of list.
It's a term. The reason I say it's a dumb term, you're making it sound more complicated or more height or more weighty than it has to be. It's preference. That's all you got to say. This is what I prefer. This is what I like. This is what I'm into. And then when we asked her what type of guy, that's another thing that was capped. Like, this is what women do. What type of guys are you into? What are some of the traits they have? Well, I want him to be worldly, and I want him to do X, and I want him to be Y.
Oh, that was one thing that stuck out to me.
And the first thing I ask is, oh, well, if he has a little dick and all those qualities. Oh, well, he has.
He got to go. It'd be nice if he was 6 feet tall.
Yeah. Like, don't, like, stop lying like those things don't matter, because they do. Don't give me the platitudes. Give me the real story. Like, that's the whole making things more complicated than they have to be. You don't have to do that. When it comes to, like, I say this all the time. Men get frustrated because women don't understand us when we're the most simple thing to understand. Women are complicated. We're not. We're very simple.
When we asked her what kind of guy she likes, she was like, he has to be respectful, and she said like 3 specific things, and I was just like, nah. Nah.
I was like, no, that's 100%. I don't even know you, and I know you're lying. Because you didn't bring up anything that really matters. You brought up platitudes that make you seem like a good person.
Right.
Because perception is reality. You don't want to say, oh, I want a guy with a big dick, 6 figures, and built like Jason Momoa. That's what you want. But you don't want to say that because that sounds shallow. Right. But if you ask a guy what type of women he's into, he's going to give you some physical shit. He's not going to talk about if she has a PhD or, well, I want a woman who has a good head on her shoulders and, you know, likes music. And we're not going to say any of that. We're just going to tell you the real shit. That's why I said men are simple. We're straight to the point.
Like this, like there's 2 big questions that you'll hear on Fresh and Fit is they'll ask, what type of guy are you looking for like a one-night thing, and what type of guy are you looking for to take seriously, right? And sometimes they'll get the same question back. With guys, it's so unbearably simple, and women hate how simple it is. Very, very simple. And I'm going to answer this in an even simpler way. I'm going to.
You want me to ask you the question first, or you want to do the?
Ask me the question.
I'm going to interview you, Ray, like we did the other day.
It's a 2-part question.
Yeah. What are some of the things you look for in a one-night stand from a woman, and what are some of the things you look for in a woman you might be interested in a relationship?
Okay, so if I'm gonna just hook up with a girl, she's got to be anywhere between a 4 that nobody sees me with and whatever number is highest.
Please ask me this back, because my answer is going to be great. Keep going.
Yeah. And if it's for a relationship, she has to be a 6 or a 7 and be cooperative and submissive. And that is the end of my description.
So you didn't talk about her personality though. You just said cooperative submissive.
Cooperative
Did
is
you?
the personality. I don't care what you like. You like it on your own time.
You
I
didn't
don't
talk
care
about
what movies
what
you
type of
like.
shows she watches,
I don't care what you do for a
what
living.
type of music she listens to. You didn't talk about any of that.
I care what you do for a living if you're stripping, if you're an escort. Yeah, don't do that. You know what I mean? But otherwise, I don't care what your profession is. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care what shows you like. I don't care what movies you like. We'll go see one of your movies sometimes. I'm going to do that for you. I'm gonna do that. That's great. But I need to know, will we have a regular hot sex life? And will you make me a decent meal and raise my kids? That's all I want to know.
All right, ask me now. That's fine.
Ace, what are you looking for in a passive hookup versus a long-term relationship?
All right, so passive hookup, and depending on the drought, because I mean, I don't really know the situation. I haven't had droughts for long spells, but let's be honest, it happens. So let's say I'm not out, I got a kid, I don't really have time, I work a lot, I'm in a drought. If I'm in a drought, anywhere from a 0 to a 10, like you just have to be alive and have a vagina at that point. I got to get something done. I'm just being honest.
I'm just saying you don't have to go that low. I'm just saying.
I don't have to, but I will, and I have in the past. I know me. You'll never see me. You'll never see that person with me in daylight. That's vampire sex right there. You'll never see them in the daylight. There's no Nosferatu 100%. Like as soon as the sun is coming up, you got to go. Else you won't turn to dust.
Shirt ideas.
With Nosferatu sex, that's 100%. You got it. Look, when it's pitch black, and I mean like I can't see my hand in front of the face black. Yes, you can come over. And as soon as there's a hint of light, you got to get gotta go. There will be no spending the night. You gotta go. I gotta work in the morning. But you work from home. I know you gotta go.
You might have to wear a luchador mask.
I don't even care. Again, the reason I say this for women who are listening, this is a Buckley's moment. Men don't prioritize sex the way you do. We don't have to have emotions involved. It's literally a step above jerking off for us. That's all it is. It's like, that's why I said she could be a 0 or a 10 if we're just hooking up and I've been in a drought. If I haven't been in a drought, then I'll have some standards. Sure, but it's still just a hookup, so I don't really care much. Because I don't plan on ever seeing you again. I don't plan on having an interest in your personality. I'm just hooking up and like I said, I don't want to jerk off. I want to actually have sex, so I'm taking a step above it. That's all that it is. Now, relationship-wise, because I got a kid, it's different. She has to be a level-headed person. She can't be crazy. She has to be attractive, and she has to not cause drama. That's it. Just give me peace. I don't need the super domesticated person because, to be honest, I cook better than almost every woman I've ever been with. I've never been with a woman who cooked better than me. But I can't suck my own dick. I need somebody to help me with that. Sorry.
The cooking thing, like I'm only saying that just because it's tangible. It's
I get it, and I'm not faulting you for that. I'm saying people are different.
Yeah.
Like the only reason I say that is because, like, look, if all scenarios were equal, I'm a multi-millionaire. She doesn't have to work. I'm still probably going to do most of the cooking because I enjoy my cooking. Like it's not about, I want her to take care of home. If I can, I prefer to cook myself because I enjoy what I make. Like when I do cookouts, I hate it because I have to cook for people who have terrible palates. And they want you to overcook meat when it doesn't have to be cooked that way. And it makes me sick to my stomach.
Been through that.
Yeah.
Just eating hockey pucks.
So that's exactly my point. I'd rather cook myself because I know what things are supposed to taste like. Like when me and my girl went to Ruth Chris for the first time, which is a steakhouse for people who don't know. It's like a high level steakhouse, expensive. You don't go there just to have fun. Like, it's not a regular dinner night. You go there to enjoy a quality, like 4-star meal. So when I ordered my steak medium, she's like, "Oh, look at all that blood." I'm like, "Yeah, that's called flavor. That's the juices. That's what's supposed to be there." Well, I got mine well done. That's why it tastes like garbage. That's why you're eating mine, not yours. I just can't see all that blood. Well, then don't look at it. Just look at the steak and eat it and enjoy it much better than this.
I would have been like, okay, can you pour the blood on my plate then?
like just like, what are you talking about? It clearly tastes 100% better because this is how it's supposed to be cooked. That's not. So that's why I say I prefer my cooking. I look up recipes. I know what I like. I know how to season the food the way I want it. So that's why that's not really a big thing for me. But the other domestic stuff, the cleaning, the child rearing, all that stuff, that's a big part of it. But the main thing is peace. Just be peaceful.
Yep.
That's number one for me. Like, sex is 2 at this point. Peace is number 1. I'm past the point. Like, I've sown my royal oats, for lack of a better term. I've done that. I've been to Vegas several times. I've done what I needed to do. I've had the AIDS and pregnancy scares. Been through the ringer.
Yeah, and for anyone listening, I think actually it's probably important for guys and for males and females to know this. Men do reach an age where they go from one point to that point where it's like,
when you're
younger, I need that peace.
Yeah, you're like, when you're 21, 22, just starting your sexual experiences, you're like, you'll deal with a crazy chick because she has amazing sex. When you're 42, you could be doing backflips on my dick. If you cause me drama, you gotta go. You can suck my dick from the back, but if you're giving me a headache afterwards, you gotta go. I will gladly sacrifice porn star sex for a peaceful night at home, because that's your priority switch. It's like any sport. When players get to the point where when they've done everything, when they've mastered a skill, they don't really put the same emphasis on it anymore. Like, there's like Khabib, when he walked away from MMA, he's mastered it. There's not the challenge there anymore. He's done everything he can possibly do. Well, does he probably want to fight at some point? Sure. Does he probably still train like crazy, do all this stuff? Sure. But other things start to be more important.
Yeah.
That's what happens with guys. Sex becomes number 2. It's still a close 2, but it's 2. Peace is always going to be number 1 as you get older.
I'm going to give you actually a perfect example of this. A guy who really, every time he got to one point where he got to the top of something, he was just like, all right, I got to move on to something else. You know what I mean? Mm. But although in his life, it's like, it was almost like he didn't allow peace to come in. So he had to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Arnold Schwarzenegger is
going to say Hitler. My bad.
No, Jesus Christ. From the same area.
You're close off. I wasn't that far. You gotta give me credit. It's like 20 miles.
He escaped that. You know what I mean? Like, he was not exactly happy to be living there. But so he's a perfect example. When he was younger, he wanted to achieve greatness. So when he was in the Austrian military, he would skip out to do bodybuilding competitions, and they would let him get away with it, but they'd be like, you better win. And he would win. And so he makes it over a course of 10, 15 years to the top of bodybuilding. Once you get to the top of bodybuilding, what's left? So, by the way, while he was doing that, he was also making crazy money doing real estate at the time.
And learning English. Yes.
Because
people make fun of his accent, but don't realize this is his second language.
Yeah.
It's not his first. That's why he sounds weird.
And also how much worse his accent used to be. Yeah. After bodybuilding, he's already made his money in real estate. He's made his money in bodybuilding. What's left? He didn't need the money, but he's in his 30s, pushing 40. What's left to do? Well, he's got this look. Well, let's put him in movies. What does he do? He becomes Arnold Schwarzenegger. He becomes the Terminator. He becomes the biggest action star. There's no Rock today without Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 80s. You know what I mean? What does he do after that? Because he's getting older. oh, let me get into politics. He becomes governor of California multiple times. He gets reelected. You know,
didn't he step down? Like, he did not be reelected. He just said, I don't want to do this anymore.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure. I'm not positive though.
Yeah. Well, I think actually also maybe around that time it was discovered, the whole scandal with.
I can't wait till we're big enough to where I can go, hey, stat guy, look that up.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, I think he stepped down also when they found out about his other son and the nanny and all that stuff. Or maybe that was before that or after that. I don't know.
I want to put this out, and then we'll go on to the other subject we have, which ties into this.
Yeah.
It was educational. It was good because you got to hear a female in her natural state. She wasn't threatened. There was no, like a lot of these podcasts, it's a domineering, it's a threatening tone, it's a overbearing tone. No, she was allowed to speak. We were allowed to speak. We went back and forth. She called us out when she thought we were wrong. We called her out when we thought she was bullshitting, and then she immediately admitted, yes, I was bullshitting. It was a good back and forth, and that's what you want to have in your life. You don't want to have a situation where it's just arguments. It's just talking. The way you get from point A to point B is by communication.
She didn't have a bad attitude about it, and at the end of the show, she said, "Yeah, I've had a great time." And I even the next day, I was just like, I was just like, "Oh, that was really good." When this is done, when it's done in editing, I'll send it to her. Mm-hmm. She was like, "Oh man, awesome!" Like she had a good time, and that's what
we're gonna have with all of our guests. We'll have male guests on, we'll have female guests on, we'll run the whole gamut, because again, this show is about healing relationships, healing communication, and trying to make things better for the guys coming up in the game and the females. So that's another thing I want to point out. Also,
you guys out there know if you want a girl like Tiffany, what she's going to be looking for, and she's not going to.
Yeah, it hurts because they couldn't see her, but she's attractive. That was the main point. We didn't pick her because she didn't have her choice in men. She has her choice in men. She doesn't realize it because she has low self-esteem, but she does. Like she could get like if she moved to Miami, she'd fit right in type of situation.
Tiffany, please don't move to Miami though. Like
don't, because that would be a horrible idea for you. You're gonna get lost quick. They're gonna Scarface you up quick.
Yeah, it's not gonna.
You're gonna be.
You don't want no part of Miami.
Yeah, you're gonna be laying on a mountain of coke with 5 Haitians standing around you, wondering what to do.
It's just gonna be Gina at the end of Scarface.
Yeah, Tony, you love me. That type of don't do it.
You're just machine gunned.
Just don't do it. It's not worth it.
Horrible idea.
So going into our topic, what we want to talk about today, and we're not going to hash on it too long because it does tie into what we were talking about on Tuesday, is how modern feminism affects the relationships between men and women. Because she was a prime example, like the whole capping situation. The whole time when she was describing the guy that she liked, she didn't give a genuine answer, and she admitted it, which is good for her because a lot of women would have just stayed with the cap. But she admitted, no, that's bullshit. I do want all those other things too. I want these on top of that. Let me first just define modern feminism, because a lot of people think we're anti-women or misogynist, and that's not what the case is. There's feminism, and then there's modern feminism. I've never met a guy who's against feminism, because feminism is just equality. And if you don't want equality,
equal opportunity.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's when I say equality, I mean equal opportunity in every humane form. Yeah. Voting, workplace, child care, getting medical care, earning potential, everything. Voting rights, anything you can think of, you should want equality in those. You should want equal opportunity for every race, gender, creed, everything. No one has a problem with feminism. I know a lot of people have a problem with modern feminism, because modern feminism isn't about equality, it's about equity. It's the modern feminism can be summed up in the wage gap argument. And for anyone who doesn't know what that is, the wage gap argument is that women get paid less than men working the same job. which is scientifically incorrect. And when I say scientifically, I say that because they've done numerous studies, uncountable number of studies on men and women working in the same profession and showing that men and women working in the same profession get paid the same amount. What they also revealed is the reason that women statistically earn less than men is because they do jobs that statistically pay less than men. Like Ray said, Tiffany's going into STEM. STEM is a 90% dominated male field. Those 10% of women that are in STEM get paid just as well as those men are, but women don't naturally go to that field. What fields do women generally go to? Nurses, teachers, human resources, some of the more emotional fields, personal assistants, things like that. Housekeeping. Like there's housekeeping is not a male dominated field. Human resources is not a male dominated field. It's mostly female. Teachers are not male dominated. It's mostly a female dominated field. I'm not talking about professors. I'm talking about like regular high school teachers, regular grade school teachers, regular kindergarten teachers. They're mostly female. You walk into a daycare, you're never going to see a guy teaching. And if you do, he's the anomaly. He's probably gay. But that's besides the point. When we were looking for my son's daycare, we went to 6 different ones, and I didn't see one male working in any of them who wasn't the janitor. Like that, these are just facts. Those fields pay less than male-dominated fields, which have to deal with STEM. Science, technology, engineering, and math. The amount of engineers that are male to female is astronomical. The percentages don't weigh out. So that's a perfect example of modern feminism.
We're not even getting into blue collar work because
no, and that's the point. We're not even talking about construction or plumbers or car maintenance.
Feminists love, like the modern feminist loves to complain about the wage gap, and they love to say there's not enough female CEOs, and they love to write laws in California where now boards at major companies have to have a certain amount of females on the board, even if they didn't earn their way to that role. So they love to complain about that. There's not enough women in those positions, but they never say there's not enough women cleaning the sewers or
building buildings or building high-rise buildings.
There's no complaints about that because they don't want to do those jobs.
Being plumbers, garbage men.
They don't tell you that those jobs also pay just as well as the other jobs.
And for the young guys listening, when we all grew up, we all looked down at garbage men. Ew, they work on a garbage truck. They must stink all day. They also mostly make 6 figures in high income areas. Like if you're a garbage man in New York, you make close to 6 figures, if not more.
Yeah. The same teacher telling you that you should study because you don't want to end up being a garbage man makes way less, makes a fraction of what that garbage
any garbage man works in this country. Any garbage man in this country makes more than the teacher.
Yo, I'm about to apply.
If you don't mind the spot, knock yourself out.
Fuck it.
That's and most of them are robot operated now, so you don't have to get out the truck.
It's post pandemic time. We all got masks.
And that's the point that we're trying to make. That's a perfect example of modern feminism because it's about equity. It's not about equality. Equity is I want to get more to make it seem like I'm equal, but not do the work to be equal. Like, because women could easily say, you know what? Working on an oil rig makes a lot of money. I'll do that. But they don't. Working in a coal mine makes me a lot of money, but I'll do that. They don't.
I'll go fish for crab.
Yeah, becoming a lab tech, becoming an offshore fisherman, becoming a long haul trucker. These are all high paying jobs. Not all 6 figures, but all high paying jobs that anyone can do. There's no one that can't be a long haul trucker. If you have a left foot and a right foot and 2 hands, you can be a long haul trucker. That's all you need. Anyone can be a garbage man. Anyone can do, construction. Anyone can work with technology. Like back in the day, yes, you couldn't because it was more about lifting. But now with technology, it's not even about that much. So they can do these jobs, but they don't want to. They want the jobs that they do to pay more, and they're just not valued more. Like most personal assistants aren't going to make 6 figures. I know some who do, but most aren't. Most are going to make low five figures. And when I say low, I mean 40 to 50,000, maybe 60 at the most. Most teachers aren't going to make six figures. You want them to, but they're not gonna. That's the difference between equality and equity. Equality is giving you the out, like when Rob said the thing about California where they are forcing people to hire companies to hire a certain amount of female CEOs. That's not equality, that's equity. They should say we're forcing you to seriously interview for women for this position. It doesn't mean you have to hire them if they're not the best candidate. Same thing for any type of minority hiring. Like that happened in the NFL for years with the Rooney Rule. Then when they realized, okay, we implemented the rule, you have to hire these people, but you're not taking it seriously. Now we're going to crack down more. It's about giving the chance for it to be equal. And if you won't be equal, then we have to force equity. But you're not even, they don't even want the equal part first. They want to go right to the equity. And equity doesn't benefit anyone because all it does is give you a leg up that you don't deserve and that you're not qualified for. So that's one of the things that we have a problem with when we say modern feminism. Because again, I can speak for Rob because we've had this discussion about this. I know he's not against feminism, just like I'm not, just like I know most men aren't. There's some cavemen out there that probably still are, but majority of well-thinking males aren't against feminism. We're against modern feminism because again, you're taking a position of I deserve, not I earn.
Right.
And no one deserves anything. No one deserves it. Like no one deserves anything except for a roof over their head and food to eat. We should all have that. We don't all get it, but we should all have it.
Right. And this mentality has infected the dating market.
1,000%. Because it's going to male and female relationships. Women are expecting things to happen a certain way and expecting men to act a certain way when we don't act that way. Like it was a prime example what Tiffany said. We keep bringing up that one situation where Tiffany brought up a whole bunch of nonsense that she really doesn't really even like, but she felt compelled to say it because that's what society tells you that you should be looking for in a guy. When in reality, those guys are a dime a dozen. There's a million guys, and I'm not even going to call them saps or betas or anything like that. There's a million guys who fall under that umbrella where they're super sweet and they have great, all these great qualities, these great emotional, vaginal qualities that these women are looking for that never get laid. They never get women. Why? Because they also want those qualities in the thug with the big dick. They also want all those qualities in the guy with the broad shoulders.
What's the meme about the Future and Russell Wilson?
Oh, the Future.
Like women don't want Russell Wilson. They want Future to act like Russell Wilson.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
that's the point. Like I don't, and just for people to say, I don't fault Russell Wilson. Like he seems like a good dude. He has something working for him. He has a lot of money and he's a good looking dude. But there's a lot of Russell Wilsons out there who don't have a lot of money and aren't good looking. And that those personality traits that they say they want aren't really what they want. That's why those guys get skipped over. That's why those guys get cut in line by, the dude who just they know is gonna, like, for example, I remember I was listening to Fresh and Fit the other day, and they were talking about they were having the same discussion with a group of females, like 3 females, and they did this whole same cap, this is what I want, this is what I'm looking for, nonsense that's not really true, and they called them out on it because at the end of the day, you can have all those qualities that you're looking for, but if you don't have what you essentially innately desire, you're not going to take it seriously. Like the woman said she wanted this guy who was emotionally strong and a good
a good communicator and, sex. And she said, okay, well, what if he had all that, but he was making 40,000 a year? Well, I mean, money's not that important. Okay, but you said how are you going to live off of making $40,000 a year? Well, I mean, I would hope he would provide it. That's where it's the BS starts to break down, because what you really want to say is, I innately want a provider. I innately want a man who has a lot of money, who can provide, because that's what you need to, like in caveman days, to provide, you needed muscles. Now you need a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's just what happened. We evolved.
Yeah. And Patrice used to say this. They want you to be, they get with you because you're one way. So let's say you are the future type, or you got the Jason Momoa body and you're making your money, and then they want to bitch you up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
when he says bitch you up, we want to make sure you guys understand what that means. They want to Russell Wilson you. Yeah. They want you to have all those qualities, all those thug qualities, all those bad boy, super masculine qualities. But then they want to turn you into the guy who's not, like, Future has like 17 kids. He's known to be a bad dude. Like, he's not a good guy. He's known for that. When it comes to women, I don't know as a person. I'm talking about relationship wise. He's known he's not a good relationship guy. He's gonna fuck you a lot, but he's also gonna cheat on you every chance he gets. But he's never went out with a woman in a high quality.
So funny.
It's a thing if you don't know this guy's an F boy, but he talks about it in his songs about how much he's an F boy. It's in every tabloid. It's been talked about ad hominem.
If she catch me cheating, I'm gonna never tell her sorry.
Yes. So that's my point. He's announcing it, but he's never without a female, and a high quality one. Why? Because they want to be that. You know how men have the Captain Save-A-Ho thing? Like, we got to save this chick. Some men.
Right.
We got to turn this hoe into a housewife. I got to save her. She's in trouble. I need to help her. Women have that same thing with thugs and with dudes that are F boys.
I can change him.
I can make him better. I can make him, if I just have a baby with him, he'll change. No, he's going to be an F boy with a baby. That's all you just added an accessory to him. That's all you did. Now he's an F boy with something instead of being an F boy with no attachments. Now he has this attachment to you. Doesn't mean he's going to be good to you now, because we don't value things the way you do. Women, like, another thing Patrice said a long time ago, he was talking about how he didn't really know his father. And he came to the realization that he had to stop being upset with his father. And the way he came to that realization is he looked at how he viewed sex. Like, he put it down to this. Like, to me, my father probably looked at me the same way we look at jerking off in a sock. It could have either been in that sock or been in that woman. I don't care what happens after that. That's how he stopped being upset with his father, because he started to realize, like, we don't value sex the way they do. It's not lovemaking to us. As much as we wrote songs about it in the 80s and 90s, it's not lovemaking. It's an act. It's the same thing as scratching our back sometimes. It's the same thing as taking a good shit. It's something you do. That's how he got over that thing. And that's how a lot of women need to understand. This is how guys view sex. We don't view, there's no wedding bells that ring in our ears when we're having some good sex. All that stuff comes later. The sex is just the foundation. It's the floor to the building. That's why I always say, when you meet a woman, if she's making you wait more than 2 months, you got to go. She can't stay with you because she's trying to build the building from the top down, and it's going to fall. That's that modern feminism, equality stuff. I mean, equity stuff. She wants to have the love without giving the sex. She didn't earn the love.
Right. Which is really ironic.
Which is something Tiffany's, I'll say what you say, but that's another thing Tiffany brought up when she was talking about Fat Boy and rock climbing.
Yeah. And I had to tell him, I'm like, yeah, of course he had a problem with that date. You took a fat guy rock climbing.
And you tricked him into it.
Yeah.
But say what you're gonna say, and I'll tie it into that.
Yeah, like that's what but yeah, it's hard to describe accurately. It's very ironic because at the same time, your modern day feminist, and this is nothing accusatory towards anyone in particular. I'll even say this has nothing to do with Tiffany because I don't know her history at all, aside from what she said yesterday. You know what I mean? But today's modern day feminist is more promiscuous than women throughout history.
That's another that I was going to get into that when we wrap. That was going to be the last thing I tied into. We wrapped up.
It's super ironic that they think that they can. The reason they think that is because, well, that's what men do, and it's like, no,
it's
just what the
equity.
5% of men do.
It's equity, not equality.
Yeah,
I deserve to be able to do what men do without doing what men have to do that. The reason we can, okay, so we'll let me go to the Tiffany point, then we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So the point that I was trying to make was she brought up a story where she had a fat dude, and I don't know if he's fat or not, probably was husky dude, where she was talking to him and they were dating, and she took him on a rock climbing trip, and he was all for it, but then he couldn't last for like 5 minutes. And the first thing I asked right before she started the story was, had you guys kissed or had sex yet? She said, no, we didn't do anything. And I was like, that's why he went. Because he was going on the premise of maybe this will get me in the front door. Knowing damn well she wasn't going to give him any anyway. Like he was trying to build the relationship top down, and it never works because women don't respect that. A woman knows if she's going to fuck you. She doesn't need to take you rock climbing to know she's going to fuck you. And that's why I said when she brought it up, I said, if you'd have asked me, I'd have said, no, you can go if you want to. I'm good. I'm not going. Well, why not? Because I don't want to fucking rock climb. I don't want to, like, if you ask me to go to the gym with you, I'm probably going to say no. I'm not going to the gym. I have workout stuff at home. I'm good. If you want to come to my garage and do it, because I got all the stuff in there. I'm not fucking going to a gym I don't have to go to. That's what I'm saying. It's
like I said on the show. I was just like, well, first of all, you're not planning a date.
Yeah. And she thought, she really thought that was like a male centric thing to say, when it's like, no, this is just, I know where I'm coming from. Like, when you say that, you're not saying that to be domineering. You're saying that because I know what I want to do.
Not only that, but also it's just like they say, and this is going to sound misogynist, and I really don't want Buckley's time. Women don't know what they want.
She already proved that. She said that multiple times.
Yeah, and you know who also doesn't know what women want? Majority of guys. And women don't want the majority of guys. They want the guys who know what they want. So I know for a fact that Tiffany didn't want to take this guy rock climbing. She wanted this guy who she was giving a chance to say, all right, we're going here, we're going here, we're going here. And then she would have been able to look past the fact that he was out of shape, because she'd have been like, oh, damn, he's assertive. He knows that I don't want to have to plan a date.
Yeah, she didn't want him to just follow her. That's what it is. He was basically being a follower. He was capitulating to the enemy. That's why I said I don't negotiate with terrorists. I'm not calling women terrorists, but it's the same mindset. Like, you don't dictate the terms of this. I'm not going to do something just because you want to do it. My ex used to love going to the beach. I went twice. After the second time, I told her, look, I don't really enjoy going to the beach like that, especially New Jersey beaches. Like, this ain't Punta Cana. This ain't DR. This ain't high value beaches. This ain't the Sierra Leone coast.
I swear I hate the beaches here.
Because they're trash. If you've ever been out of the country to a real beach, these beaches are garbage.
I do not understand our affinity here.
It's not ours.
Stupid.
Hold on. It's not ours. Let's be real. It's 90% of females, and it's dudes trying to bang those females.
That's all it is.
No guys say, hey, y'all want to go to the beach and chill? It doesn't happen. And when I say no, I'm sure there's one guy out there that does it.
We go to this club and this bar down the shore and eat pizza.
Yeah, they'll go to the club near it to try to hook the chicks that just came up with the beach. But that's it. They're not hanging out on the beach just to hang out at the beach, because New Jersey beaches are garbage. They're in New Jersey. We don't have the best water here. The beaches here smell like 2 levels up from a sewer. I'm just being real. I haven't been to California beaches. I'm sure they smell better. It's probably a fact.
So much better.
Like I've been to beaches in Mexico. They smell a lot better. They look a lot better, and they're much more enjoyable. I went to a beach in Hawaii. Fantastic environment. Wouldn't mind spending hours out there. To cut the long story short, I told my ex, look, you can go if you want to, but I'm just going to stay here because all I'm doing is ruining your good time. All you're going to do is you're going to be enjoying yourself, and you're going to see me not enjoy myself, which is going to make you not enjoy yourself. So I'm just going to stay home. You go have fun. No hard feelings. You do what you want to do. I'll do what I want to do. And that made our relationship 20 times better. Instead of capitulating and saying, yeah, I'll go rock climbing, eat pizza. Like, no, if you're a fat dude and you don't want to do heavy shit, don't do heavy shit. She'll respect you more for saying, nah, I'm good. We can do something else though. I'll tell, like, we can do this, we can do X, we can do Y, we can do Z, but I'm not doing that because I'm not going to enjoy it.
Pro tip for the gentleman out here listening. Serious pro dating tip for men out here. And I think the women will appreciate this. Pro tip.
He said 3 pro tips, so this is serious.
She will go to see something she doesn't like. She will go to do something she doesn't like. She will do damn near anything as long as it's a surprise and you planned it, and she doesn't even need to know what it is. We're going out. You can tell her as you're driving on the way there. You can legitimately, you can do this. You can take a girl out and have no plan whatsoever and just be like, it's a surprise. And then halfway through be like, I don't know where we're going. I just had no plan. I just wanted to get you out of that mindset. And she'll appreciate it. She'll be like, all right, well, let's figure something out. But if you leave it up to her, the percentage of into you, whatever it was, is going to lower.
And you're probably not going to have a good time. We like different things.
She would rather go to something that she would not like. Let's say you like comics. She would rather you surprise her with tickets to Comic-Con and you guys go, and it was your idea, than actually go to something she wanted to do that she planned out.
And that you're going to, like, again, the reason she brought that up is because she saw this guy not having a good time. And he knew he wasn't going to have a good time. But he wasn't quote unquote man enough to just say, look, I don't want to fucking go. Because she said she tricked him. She said she told him to bring workout gear. That should have been, nah, I'm good. Workout gear? I ain't even got that. I got pizza. I got fat boy shit. I got sweatpants. You want that? I was like, nah, I don't got the workout gear. That's what he should have said.
And you know what doesn't like the pro tips I just mentioned? Modern feminism.
Because they want to believe that, no,
that women should be.
My friend's cousin's uncle's best friend's Peter likes loving hip hop, and he watches Sex in the City, and he's into all that stuff too. Yeah, he's an anomaly. He's not who most women are. And if you really break it down to it, you ain't fucking that guy. You'll be friends with him. You're never gonna fuck him. He'll help you move. He won't move into them drawers. It's just it just happens that way. And now you don't want that guy. You want that guy to be us, but he's not, and we're never going to be him. Now, going into the last subject, which you brought up, we're talking about modern feminism that really derails is the sexual proclivity part. Modern, again, not feminism. Modern feminism dictates that a woman can be as sexually active as she wants, and it doesn't deviate from her value. It doesn't devalue her at all.
I will say though, this does date back to original feminism to an extent. It's out of control today, but
It did to
the
it
60s
did to an
and 70s,
extent,
like the
but
sexual revolution, like that was part of it when
but that was more because those are barbaric times. Let's be real. If we're being honest, those were I could rape a woman and get away with it, and no one would say anything.
right.
If a woman had
I
sex
promise I
with,
won't make that a soundbite.
yeah, feel free. Put it on a t-shirt.
It's just gonna say
I could rape a woman
I won't say.
I could rape a woman and get away with it. And then put no context around it. But back in those days, like if a woman had sex with two people, she was a whore. If she wasn't a virgin, she was
I
a
still
whore.
think.
Like, so that's why I don't discuss it as part of feminism, because all they were doing was making valid points. They weren't saying, what modern feminism is. Like modern feminism is Amber Rose's slut walk. Modern feminism is,
oh my god, I'm going to get sidetracked and I am unstoppable on this sidetrack.
Go ahead.
Like I am juggernauting that particular section of this show.
Go ahead. You can't stop.
Modern feminism is supporting a woman who has a tattoo on her forehead.
She didn't have it during that time, though. She didn't have it when she started this.
I mean, I'm just saying, it's not like
But she did have all the body.
She didn't take less dick since then.
That's what I'm saying. She didn't have the tattoo, but she had the bodies.
No, she had tattoos everywhere else, but the forehead, that should just be, that's it. You know what I mean?
She's a little bit off at that point. That's Future right now. That's talking about how he's gonna cheat on you in a song. Like she's telling you something there. But that's the point. Like you don't want Amber Rose's slut walk to be okay, and the chicken Sex in the City where they just bang every dude they possibly could. Except for I think one of them was not like that, but from what every guy who was in a relationship in the 2000s was forced to watch some episodes of that. And I know there was like one who wasn't, but the rest of them were just super loose with it. And if I have an OnlyFans, that doesn't mean I'm a whore, or it doesn't mean I'm sexually. You know what? You're right. It doesn't. But you're wearing the uniform. If I'm a stripper, that doesn't mean I'm sleeping with all these people. You know, you're right. It doesn't. But you're wearing the uniform. And that's what we're going to view you as. And ladies, again, this is an uncomfortable truth. Men don't want to be with whores. Most. I'm an anomaly. I proudly admit it. I don't mind it. To me, I'm not the typical guy though. So I don't put myself just like women shouldn't put themselves in certain categories when they're an anomaly. I don't put myself in a category when I'm an anomaly. So I would never tell a woman that it's acceptable to be like that, even though I might accept it, because I know I might, but there's 10,000 other men who won't. If you put 10,001 men in a room, I'm going to be the one guy who's like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. So when you're playing the odds, you shouldn't play the odds to get the 10,001 guy. You should play the odds to get one of the 10,000. And out of those 10,000 guys are all telling you, look, you can be sexually active, but we don't want a woman who's just throwing away her vagina all day. No man wants that. We're not going to look at you the same as we look at a woman who holds herself to a certain standard. She's going to be valued higher. Modern feminist says they should be treated equal, but that's just not how men and women are built. There is no society, Eastern or Western, that values women having sex with a bunch of different men. Why? One, it's unhealthy. Your pH balance is going to be off. You run the risk of more STDs. You run the risk of more pregnancy. You run the risk of a lot of different things that men don't have. Men don't have pH balance. Remember, when sex happens between a man and a woman, we stick into you.
Right.
We could be shooting all types of stuff. We could be messing all types of things in there. That's why we don't look at it that way. We don't want a woman who's that, because that innately we know it's like you could. There's no successful route in that. And there never has been.
For me, I just really think because not even just the emotional investment like that everyone says, but I just really believe that after a certain point, which is going to vary from woman to woman. For some women, it's going to be 5, for some 10, for some 30. After a certain point, it's psychologically damaging because there's a bigger investment risk.
Yeah.
When it comes to sex for women, like sex is supposed to be a bigger deal for women because a woman can bring only one kid to term every 9 months, like basically one a year, which means if you are pregnant, you are the most vulnerable you'll ever be in your life. And this dates back to caveman times and living in the forest. And when a woman is pregnant, she needs to be taken care of. And that shouldn't sound misogynist. You should be fucking happy that there are men who think a pregnant woman should be taken care of. That's not a bad thing for men to say. We're not trying to step on your neck. We're trying to keep you from getting killed.
Again, it's modern feminism can only exist in first world countries where stuff like that aren't a real problem.
Right.
We've
got medicine.
That's what I'm saying. In a first world country, you have a good you have good doctors, you have a good healthcare system, you have child support systems set up, you have a bunch of different things that make that easier to deal with.
Abortion.
In third world countries, you don't have those options. There's a reason people come here. It's not for the fucking weather. It's because our opportunities are not their opportunities. And the point I was making, like, even what you said, like, when it comes to sex, women are the vessel. They're the stuff we put into. No one wants a vessel that's been damaged. Like, you can watch any interview of any female porn star. They're rarely married. It's just a fact. They rarely are married, and they're rarely in good relationships. Sure, they have guys they hook up with, but they rarely have like a steady relationship they're into. Male porn stars don't have to deal with that. A lot of them are married. A lot of them do find a woman that will be okay with them slinging dick on set.
There's documentaries on this on Netflix, actually. After Porn Ends.
Yeah,
illustrates this.
Now, yes, according to modern feminism, that shouldn't be the case, but reality doesn't care about modern feminism. Reality doesn't care about how you feel the world should be. It just is the way it is. Men are built a certain way. Women are built a certain way. Doesn't mean we're not equal. That means that there's things that you do that we can't, and there's things that we do that you can't. And that's fine.
Why are suicide rates so much higher amongst former female porn stars than
because they
any other demographic
they've thrown the life away that they may have wanted. When the looks start to fade, when the opportunities start to fade, they don't have the other opportunities because the only thing that they have is sex. Like I've listened to porn star interviews where they've talked about contemplating suicide because they realized that they don't get approached by men. They just thought they were never going to be happy. And it's a horrible thing, but I don't feel horrible about it because you chose that life. You chose to do porn without even thinking of the consequences that come about from doing porn. Is it fair that men don't have to think about that? Absolutely, it's not fair. But it's reality. It's not about fair or not. This is what the reality situation is. Just like when a man gets married, he has to think about the divorce rate, where women don't always have to think about that. Because when divorces happen, 80% of the time, women are the ones that are filing it. And out of that 80% of the time, 60% of those are getting alimony. In a higher rate, child support, either one or the other. Men, is it fair that men have to deal with that? No, but it's a reality of the situation in most first world countries. So yes, we're not ever going to have an equity type of footing, but that doesn't make one better than the other. The reason we're railing on this tonight is the sooner you get out of the equity mindset, you start to move towards the equality mindset. You actually tend to learn more. You actually do better. Just like Tiffany, like she said, as she started to think more like what do guys like this, do guys like that? Maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that. She started to have better outcomes. You got to do the same things in your lives. So, Rob, you got anything else you want to add?
Well, I think also by the end of the interview with her, she was maybe understanding a little bit more like, hey, I understand maybe, these are kind of my options here. And so maybe she's going to lean more into being a career woman, and that's fine. But as long as women today understand that it's not about like we want you to have all the rights that you have, right? Like the right to vote, the right to work, the right to an education, all that stuff is great. But there's you're taking on a position where you're living the life that men live, and we make these choices. We've lived with these choices for centuries, and it's a very you can't have your cake and eat it too scenario. So understand that we're still different, even if we can play the same roles, which means if you're gonna focus on your career, you're going to have to deal with if you don't want to be alone, a certain type of guy, a guy who's going to be really okay taking a back seat and letting you be the breadwinner, maybe, or he's never going to be equal. If you think it's going to be like, if you both make $100,000 a year, and he's still, if you guys are paying even equal amount of bills, you want to know what's going to happen? One of you is going to cheat. I don't care which one it is. One of you is going to
figure it out. One of you is going to do it.
Yeah, one of you is going to do it. It's never equal, ever. One of you is going to do it. But to each their own. We're not saying don't try, but don't exist in this dating market with modern day feminism as your guide to it. It will lead you. It will be nothing but pump and dub heartbreak. That's all it's going to add up. The only people winning in today's dating market because of modern feminism is the top 5 to 20% of guys. That's it. Those are the only guys winning. They get to sleep with whoever they want, nonstop, and they get to marry whoever they want. And once that marriage suffers, they can afford the divorce, and they kick her to the curb, and they repeat the process, and they get their kids out of the deal, and they get to keep conquering the world by spreading their seed over and over again, and just start new families. Those are the only guys winning.
The new Genghis Khans.
Yeah, those are the only guys winning. That and Dominican guys.
Oh, if you don't know Dominicans, you're not going to get that joke. But
if I didn't nail that punchline,
it landed. So, and that's a good thing. That's a good point to end on, because we didn't want to bash Tiffany. We wanted to just talk about the situation in the conversation we had with her. And she did say, I'm probably going to end up not having kids and not getting married because I'm focusing on my career, which is smart of her. She was introspective about that. That's a give and take situation. Like Rob just said, you can focus on your career. You can try to be a high powered, business owner, CEO, whatever, but you're giving up a lot of your child rearing years to do that. We aren't. Our child rearing ends don't end ever. We can make kids until the day we die. And you can only make kids until you're 42, 43.
And there's
at best.
There's plenty of guys out there who have, no kids, right? And they're very successful. They've lived this long life. They've made all this money. They get some measure of fame and status, and they've never had kids and maybe even minimal relationships. And they'll say like, yeah, it can be lonely, but I'm okay with that. Like, I know what I've accomplished. I know this is what my life is about. There's nothing to say that there's anything wrong with a woman living that same type of life. So it's something, if you can accept that, then more power to you, because some people need to be that.
Hold on, but to add to what you just said, we can take those two people. We can take a guy who's 55, who's super successful and never had kids. and we can take a female who's super successful and never had kids. The difference between those two people is if the next day that guy says, you know what, I want to have a kid, he can still do it.
Right.
She can't. Without adoption, she can't. And adoption agencies aren't going to push towards her because she's going to be out of the main demographic. It's just not going to happen. A man has the option to change his mind at any point in his life about kids. A woman only has until about 43, 44. And then it's done. The science hasn't figured it out yet.
I would even go like younger than that.
I'm talking about like,
can
they do it? I'm talking about, is it healthy?
Nobody wants to bring up a kid in the most difficult possible fashion.
And again, I'm not saying is it healthy? I'm saying they physically can. I'm just talking about
like, oh, this is my son. He has 5 shunts in his skull. He hasn't said a word in 7 years.
And again, I'm just talking about facts. I'm not talking about is it a healthy thing or not. I'm just saying factually, they can really only get to about this age, and then there's no decision left. They just can't do it.
Right. Of course.
Factually, there's no age where we can't do it. We can literally be milked and have that seed put into someone, and now we have a baby.
Yeah.
We can change our mind at any point. So as long as you go into it knowing that, like there was an interview, and we'll end it after this. There was an interview Vivica A. Fox did. Crazy attractive actress. And one of the things she said was her biggest regret is not having children. She focused so much on her career that she put all that other stuff on hold. And by the time she got to it, it was too late. That's a give and take you have to have as a female. As a man, we don't have to. Is it fair? No, but it's life. Life doesn't care about fairness. It is what it is. So as long as you're okay with, okay, I'll put X, Y, and Z on hold, and I may never get back to it, and that's okay. Then shoot your shot. But if you know that that's not going to be okay with you, pick another path. And like Rob said, modern feminism is not the goalpost. Modern feminism is not for women. It's for consumerism.
Right. You know why? You know what? Because single women buy stuff.
They're the biggest shoppers in the world. Books, magazines, Cosmopolitan, the editor of Cosmopolitan wrote a book admitting that they push that narrative just to keep women unhappy and single because those are the women that buy more. Those are the women that read their magazine more. Those are the women that produce more, that buy more produce, things that are produced than any other gender, race, like white women specifically. They will buy more than anyone if they're single and unhappy. They will spend that money to find the happiness. So they push this narrative. It doesn't work. Try the method that actually does and see if it works out. That's all we got to say. So for Rob, this is Ace. We're going to sign off now. We might get you guys next week. Remember to like, subscribe, hit all those buttons. We'll try to see about doing some more interviews, maybe set up some sessions. We'll catch y'all guys later. You'll enjoy it.